we're gonna have some fun tonight. So I think it's gonna be really useful for everyone. So I'm gonna let Gustav handle the questions from now on. I'm gonna close out the chat and I'm gonna pop on camera. And as soon as I pop on camera, you're going to see the very first mistake. So we're gonna go through 5. First mistake is, can you guess? It's wardrobe. Can you, let's stop the share. Here we go. Wardrobe. Mistake. I can't believe it. I can't believe when I see people not dress professionally, as if you are going to be taken seriously if you're not, if you're, you know, you're wearing a cap and a t-shirt, right? And I'm very proudly sporting my UPenn cap. I love it. Maybe that's the look you're going for, right? Maybe you're kind of going for the casual look, but if you're presenting professionally, this is a big no-no. And look, here we go. Penn, MAPP 6. Factually speaking, I told Gustav this earlier, MAPP 6, factually speaking, is the best class between 5 and 7. I think that that is absolutely true. Now, what we're going to be doing today, you could see here, you are joining me. I'm in Orange County. We have people from New York, Seattle, New Jersey, everywhere. And what we're going to be learning today, we're going to be learning 5 tips, very easy to implement tips to avoid the most common mistakes that I see online, that it really detracts from your message when you are making these mistakes. It's like lettuce in your teeth, where you're trying to pay attention to that person, but the lettuce is just right there and you can't pay attention to that person, right? So here we go. We got first mistake, which is wardrobe. And as I talk about that, I'm gonna change into a more appropriate professional wardrobe. And we're here in my walk-in closet. As I dress up, I'm gonna tell you my experience. So I was actually at Kaplan. I was one of the first live online teachers hired way back in, I think it was like, what, 2007. And so I have, yes, what is that, like now, 12, 13 years of online teaching experience. And what I'm going to be teaching you today is the things that they absolutely would not allow us to do at Kaplan. So there were certain standards that we had at Kaplan that were the professional standards that we were docked if we didn't follow these standards. One was professional attire. So when we taught, and what we, I was actually I taught the LSAT, GMAT, GRE, SAT, ACT. I was actually the #1 rated SAT teacher in the country there. And these were the standards that they taught us to make sure that we were engaged and that we had credibility with our students. So that's what I want to be able to give to you. And now we're like in a whole new world where we're all moving all of our presentations online, and I'm really hoping that you're going to get a lot of value out of what we talk about today. So my hope for you is that because all of your messages, it's so important, and it's important that you deliver those messages to the right audience that is receptive to what you are saying. And a big part of that is your presentation. So we're going to be talking about the presentation. So we're going to be going over 5 tips. The 5th one is, there are 5 shockingly common errors. I think number 5 is going to literally shock you. I showed Gustav a little earlier. It's going to literally, well, would you say literally, or is that, it's going to give him a little shock, right, Gustav? A little shock at the end. So
a slight shock, yeah.
Slight shock. I hope you're ready for that. But we'll prepare you in advance. So number one error is wardrobe. It seems so simple. Just put on some professional wardrobe. Now we're going to move on to number 2. That is lighting. Look at this. Okay, now let me show you one of the most common errors I see with lighting. So, and this is my walk-in closet. We're actually going to go downstairs. I'm going to take you downstairs to my glorious studio that I set up. But I want to show you an example of the lighting that I had when I was teaching. Now, here's a really common error that I see, which is this. See this? Look at this. Isn't this ridiculous? Like people actually, they like actually, they're on online meetings like this. I call this witness protection program lighting, because they can't see your face. We need to see your face. We got to see your face. Is that too much to ask? So let me give you a couple tips on lighting. Okay. So with lighting, what you want, so there's going to be your key light. In this case, I've got my nice Southern California light. It's nice and strong. That's going to be your strongest light. But real basics of lighting is you actually don't want it at front because it's going to flatten your face. If you want to look your best, you make it at a 40-degree angle, which is going to give your face a little bit more depth. And if you want to get really fancy, get a lamp, turn it on, and then you have what you call the fill light, which is also going to be at a 45-degree angle. It's going to give your face a little bit more depth. It's going to make you look nice. As a matter of fact, what we're going to see when we go downstairs, I really went all out on the lighting. You know, lighting is like paint, and it makes you look really nice. It makes you it slims you down too. See, I thought that I had to lose 10 pounds, but it was actually, I just had bad lighting. So when you have good lighting, you look good. So we're going to go downstairs. I'm going to take you down. We're going to go through. Nice thing about like nowadays when you're presenting online, it's so intimate. You see people's houses. You're going to get to see my house. I'm going to take you through there, downstairs. And I have to warn you in advance. I'm going to apologize. I do have 5 kids. That's right. I said 5 kids. So if there's any mess, that's my excuse. So let's go. You guys ready? We're going to go downstairs. All right. Here we go. All right. So we got the first tip was on wardrobe. Got to look professional. Second tip is lighting. You got to make sure you're going to see the lighting downstairs is I'm very proud of it. And the third tip really relates to camera angle. We're going to talk about camera angle. You want to say hi, Mimi? There's my daughter back there, and my baby is right over, and my wife, my lovely wife. So we're going to be going into, one thing when you've got kids, you got to put this up on your door. Don't forget to put that up. Of course, they ignore it, but you know, do your best here, right? All right, so now we're going to go to my studio. That I actually made this literally right before the lockdown because I heard what was going to happen. And then you could see here, I got my circle light, which I use as my key light. I got 2 of these soft boxes, which really, and you're going to see what a difference the lighting makes in a second. So now let me talk about camera angles, right? And we're going to show you like different cameras, like how important like a good camera really makes to the whole experience. But now this drives me nuts. So then we're going to talk about like angle now, right? So with camera angles, it's really important that, now this is what everybody does. Here's what I see a lot, which drives me kind of nuts. Like you ever see this? Like you're in a meeting and you got this guy right here where his head is like, it's just a head. You're just talking to a head. You're just talking to like the top part. Sometimes it's like this. It kind of drives me nuts a little bit like this. They're like, hey, hi, how you doing? So it's really hard to take someone seriously when they're, I know I'm exaggerating here, right? But now let me tell you what we were taught in Kaplan. And here's the other thing. So when you're using a laptop, you're kind of looking down and there's a subconscious kind of feeling of like, oh, I am superior to you, right? It's like a strange feeling. It doesn't feel good when you're here. What you want is your camera angle to be, it really should be at eye level. So you're talking to, see, look at that. Isn't that better? Now I'm talking to you face to face, like we're having a conversation. I'm not looking down at you, and it just feels better, right? And so what you want to do when you're doing your camera angle is think of the screen as like it's in thirds. So imagine there's like this line here, there's 2 lines and 1 line right here, and it's cutting across and it's splitting your screen in thirds. So this is kind of like broadcast journalism standards, I suppose. But this is what they taught us in Kaplan. And what you want is your eye right there on that second line, so that you got your torso, you got a portion of torso in there, and you know, you're staring directly into the camera. And I have to tell you that, so this is a really, really big thing that I see all the time. So notice this, because they really hammered into us, look into that camera, look into the camera, because watch what happens when I'm not looking into the camera. So if I'm talking like this, like it feels a little off. Like if someone were talking to you like this in real life and they weren't really looking at into your eyes, and they were looking like to the side of you, it just doesn't feel as engaging. It just feels kind of weird, right? So you want to train yourself to look directly into the camera, and look at that, right? You can't help but not look at me when I'm looking straight directly into the camera. It's more intimate, it's more engaging. Look into the camera, right? So we got lights, camera, angle, right? Angle is very important, like your camera angle. And now, so lights, camera, angle, and now the last thing we're gonna talk about is sound. And I'm gonna switch over to my other computer. So I'm gonna hop off. I actually want to show you what a difference a good microphone makes and a good camera. So I'm gonna show you here. We've got this guy right here. If you're gonna be planning on doing a lot of webinars, I do recommend investing in a good mic, and I'll show you why we're gonna. So give me a second. I'm gonna switch over to. And here, there we go. Can you guys hear me okay? So can you hear me okay, Gustav?
Sure can.
Okay, so now I'm gonna switch mics to my nice mic. Now here's testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. So here's the difference between this versus testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. How does that sound? Gustav, do you hear the difference?
Oh, I sure do. Yeah, I think this sounds much better.
But what do you notice? And yeah, what do you notice, Gustav?
What should I describe? I think there's less background noise. You sound less tinny.
That's the big one.
It's like less like talking on a bad phone line and more like you're actually here. Not quite, but you know, it's closer.
Exactly. Yeah. And now let me just kind of show you with I'm going to switch cameras. So this right now we're using the camera on my monitor. We're going to switch cameras to, this is a Logitech, and I guess like Logitechs are really hard to find now because they're just like the best cameras on the market, like best webcams. I'm going to switch to, let me see here. Here's my camera. All right. How does that look? What do you think? Does that make a difference? Don't I look?
This looks brighter. The colors are nicer.
It's like I'm a movie star, right? Like
looks much more polished.
Right. But it really does. It makes a huge difference when you have. So if you are going to look at the bare minimum, just get your angles right? And if you have like a light, make sure you get that that key light in there. Now, if you want to step up your game a little bit, you want to invest in a nice webcam. And this one specifically, what this does is it actually gives it a appearance of depth. You can see, like, as opposed to if I were to go to the display site, it feels like flatter, and you could you see the back, it feels like closer, right? This gives more of the illusion of depth, and it works really at like a subconscious level. You could just feel it feels better, right? So that is the lights, camera, angle, wardrobe, and then that was sound. Sound, you want to invest in a good microphone, and here's the last thing I would say when it comes to, so you can see how incredibly helpful Gustav is. Please give some love to Gustav in the chat. So thank you, Gustav. But a good person, it's like your you can't, all right, sorry, I got to make this analogy, but, when you have bad breath, you can't smell your own bad breath, right? You got to have someone else tell you whether or not your breath smells bad. And that's the same thing with like sound. It's really hard to tell whether or not your sound is good or bad. You really have to have someone on the other end telling you. And that's where it's really good to have someone like Gustav, like a co-host or someone just to do a quick tech check before you present. We actually practiced a couple times before this. It's really important that when you are using any kind of technology that you use it, because you're going to find glitches. We found like a bunch, we stumbled on a bunch of glitches, right, Gustav? And had we not did those run-throughs, then we would have had a smooth presentation. Okay, so that's it. I'm really hoping that these were really valuable tips and they're going to make you look more professional. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, I forgot my one thing. Like I don't know, it makes me feel, especially if you're working at home, I feel like you have to have, like you got to dress professionally just to, it kind of anchors you in. I always wear a sport coat it just makes me feel like I'm at work more, like it's like putting on your costume, or it's like, for me, it's like, a police officer putting on his uniform or a doctor putting on his lab coat. It just makes me feel like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do this. All right. Well, let me see. I'm going to take a look at the chat, but hopefully this was helpful to you. I'll say bye to anyone who's not going to stick around. But for those of you who are sticking around, I'll answer any questions in the chat.
I think Joanne was wondering, could you clarify what you meant about the 45-degree angle for the lighting? For the lighting, so that's for the speaker's face. So if you put the light like right in front of you, it actually it flattens your face, right? If you want that effect, that's okay, right? But if you want to have like more of a perception of depth, it's better to have it at an angle, so it gives you some shadows. As a matter of fact, what I could show you. Let me show you a picture here, because I was playing around, I was experimenting. It gets kind of fun. There's like a rabbit hole you could kind of go down with lighting, because lighting is like, it's like paint. It's like you're painting, but with lights. And so I was playing around at night, what I did was, I saw this on a YouTube channel. You would just switch on one light at a time, and you would say, okay, well, this is what the key light does. This is what the fill light does. And let me see if I could show you here, but I'll put up a picture and I'll show you like what a difference that is. Give me a second. But as I'm trying to pull that up, let me see if there's what other questions do we have here? So Andrew just asked is there a mic you recommend or suggest?
Man, there's so many mics out there. Like,
yeah,
it's so hard to find and I'm
maybe you could say, why did you pick the one you picked, and how much roughly did you have to spend on?
I think you could get a good one for anywhere for like, starting at like 50 to, I think you get like a really, really nice one, like a really quality one for like 50 or $100. This one is, and it took me a while to get this one, but this one's a Sennheiser, and I could actually get the pricing on that, but I really like this one too. So what I'll do is I'll put, where can I put it? I'll maybe I can put out an email, or you can message me, but I'll get the specs on it for you, and then I'll send it out. But this was a pretty good one. But I did find that like one great way to, YouTube has everything nowadays. Like YouTube, like if you look up, best microphones for live streaming or webcam, that was the thing that really helped me, because a lot of these YouTubers will go through each and compare different microphones, and they'll show you. So that, I thought that was really useful. If you look up the top 5, top 10 lists, I found those incredibly useful. But just looking through Amazon, it's, paradox of choice. it's paradox of choice, right? You're just overwhelmed with these options. Okay, let's see. You have a great night too, Karen. Yeah, I could put it in the chat. I'll look it up right now in Amazon. And let me show you the pictures. This is gonna look incredibly like I'm narcissistic, but I swear I'm not. I usually don't do this. It's just really fun to play with the camera. All right, you seeing this, right? So
yes, we're seeing that.
So let me just show you. I'll go through. I was like just playing around with different, so look at that. So here, let me take it over here. So this is your backlight, and that's gonna give you. See how it gives you that glow in the back, and let me just. So this is here. That's the fill light, and this is the key light. So fill light, key light. So it gives you, see how it kind of paints your face. So it gives it angles, and also it's giving me a chin, right? So like I was telling you, it has like a slimming quality when you want to put it up higher, right? So you have you have some shadow. And then what I did was I started putting so this is just the backlight. This is the backlight with the fill light, and now we got the backlight, fill light, and the key light. Looks pretty good, right? And this is like bringing it all together. Then I put some backlights that it lit up the my backdrop, so it just kind of looks. I was trying to go for the infinity white look.
Would it be possible for you to show us again your lighting setup? Could you move the camera so we can see
absolutely.
your lighting setup?
Let me go to. I'm going to switch here to. There we go. Do you all see that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so really the big ones here are, you want a big bright one here. That's going to be your key light, right? And that's pretty much your main one that you need, like more than any other light. You just need that one. You really want it at an angle. And then you got your backlight really should be, it should be almost like a straight line where it should be facing your key light. So this is the backlight, and that gives it highlights like the back of your head, so it kind of glows, right? It gives a little bit of like a halo effect. And then this guy it should be directly opposite, but this is like just getting fancy, right? But because you don't really need, I just, like I said, I went down like a rabbit hole with YouTube, and I just decided to do that. And then this guy is your fill light, which is they're kind of like 90 degrees. Like they're making it like so this is 45 and this is 45, right? Does that help, Gustav?
I think that helps a bit, yeah. And I guess if you don't really feel like buying extra lights, a good thing to think about is just, if you have windows, make sure there are no windows behind you, because then you end up backlit. You want to be facing the windows. Unless
you're going for the effect of like,
yes, unless you program. Do that, yeah.
Then, that's a big one. And ideally you kind of want to, if you can, angle your face, but it does, I think you can see it makes a big difference. So great. Any other
questions? We have a couple more questions here. Elaine is asking, what about the background? So clearly you went for like an all white background, but could you say a bit more about choosing a proper background? Or
that's a great question. So like for me, because I personally wanted to go for like that clean look, and I think especially because, so I teach like, SAT, ACT, the cognitive load on those tests is pretty high. So I want it to be distraction free. So that's why I'm choosing that white background. But part of what I was doing when I was looking back at some of the other MAPP webinars, I was kind of looking, actually, if you look at Senya has a great, her lighting's great, her camera is great. Like she's a really good example of like what you should be going for. There was a couple of appsters where like their head was like kind of in the middle of the, you know, it takes away from your presence when you're doing that. But in terms of background, you know, I think like if you notice, if you take a look at, you know, like Conan O'Brien and Stephen Colbert and all those guys they're all online, right? A lot of them are doing like Zoom stuff online. A lot of times, I personally, if I wasn't going to have this backdrop, I like angles are great, you know, like as opposed to like a flat background. Like if you have angles and you have depth, it looks really nice, you know, as opposed to like a flat wall background. So I would recommend like giving yourself some lines and depth. It's just more interesting for the eye to see, right? That's what little I know about that. But for the backdrop, I personally prefer clean, but you know, it really depends on what you're going for. If you're going, that in itself, like the set is like, you know, it really changes the feeling of whatever it is that you're doing. So it really depends on what you're going. I was trying to go for the Apple, you know, remember the old commercials, good stuff, the Mac versus.
Oh yeah, the clean minimalism.
Yeah. So.
All right. Iris was asking, could you please share the models of the mic and camera you use?
Yeah, let me look up right now.
Okay.
It did take me a while to figure that out. And as we're doing that, what other questions?
I think that's it for the questions currently. Unfortunately, right now it seems really hard to buy a webcam because everyone is working from home and everyone at the same time realized that they need a webcam.
I'll tell you the webcam that
so they're just gone.
Is the Brio. The Brio is great. Like the Logitech Brio. I'll put that in the chat. But it's hard to find. I have one. The only problem is the Logitech Brio has like the USB-C or the third generation like USB.
Oh, really? Fancy.
Yeah, and so like my current iMac, it doesn't have that. It works on my laptop, but I don't broadcast from my laptop, and it's amazing. It looks so good, like that. So if you can find one, if you can find a Logitech Brio, that's the one to get. For the camera, either that or the 920, the Logitech 920 or 930, any of those. Those are really.
I know the 920 is very popular and it's quite affordable, I think. Maybe not currently, but normally it's quite affordable.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the most affordable, and it's one of the most widely used for like YouTubers because it's like the best entry level camera, and it's just a really, really good price. So for this camera, I was kind of bummed that I couldn't use the Brio. It's actually back there. If any of you have a Mac, I could give that one to you. Well, not give, but you could just pay me what I paid for it. And let me see here. So this is, oops, is that the one? No, that's not it. It is a Logitech it's a Logitech C930E. C930E. There you go. And then for the mic, let's see, what is it? Oh, here it is. It's Audio Technica. And this one is $137.96. So I really like this microphone. I got like these lavaliers, Sennheiser lavaliers. That's why I thought it was a Sennheiser, but this is an Audio Technica. And Audio Technica is known as like really high quality at a really good price. So let's see here. 0 US. Okay, there you go. So that's the one I got for Mike. Great questions. If there's any other questions, let me know. The comments go, I think they just go straight to the panelists. Amanda. Are all of you seeing my?
Oh,
they're not seeing. Oh, they're not seeing my.
Oh, Conrad,
my
yeah, you're just sending to. I can copy and paste and send them to everybody.
Yeah, we'll do that. Sorry about
Okay.
that, Amanda. We'll send it. How can we send it out? Why can't it does not go to everybody? Oh, here it is. Okay. Sorry, I've never used the webinar version of Zoom before. We got it. We'll put it in the chat for you right now.
Yeah, working on it.
There, got the Audio Technica one. And then, so that one was $137.96, which I don't think that's a bad price because you could see like some of these microphones are like $300, $400, $600, $700. I think $137.96 is like a steal for a microphone. And then the webcam I spent, it's a little pricier. It was $249. But the 920, I think 920 is like what, $100? Gustav,
I think it's normally around there, yeah. But again, right now I think they're sold out across.
Yeah, they're kind of going out. Okay, great. But I think people forget about the mic though, and I think it's really like the sound. It makes a big difference. And I was one of the guys in Kaplan that would have like a hot mic, and it just irritates people. So, you know, it would lower my ratings as a teacher if I had like a hot mic. Yeah, it's hard to listen to someone if their mic gets like, you know, that when you raise the voice, it hits the top level and it kind of crackles, right? And people just do not like it. It irritates them. Okay. Any other questions? Thanks for joining us. I hope that was really useful. That was fun for me. I think we took a chance there, and I think it worked out, right, Gustav?
Yeah, I think you pulled it off. It was entertaining.
We thought that might be like the whole like going downstairs and switching. You always want to practice things.